Nintendo's mustachioed mascot and his gang of fungal and shelled associates have dominated the wacky karting scene since 1992. With that refined mix of tight controls, imaginative courses, and iconic power-ups, Nintendo has cemented itself as the undisputed emperor of karting, all but monopolizing the genre and seeing off any pretenders with a well-placed blue shell to the head. In video game terms at least, Mario Kart is kart racing, and anything else lives in its shadow. Here at TripleJump, however, we're not averse to a little bit of skulking around in the shadows, so today we'll be looking at some really good kart races that have nothing to do with Mario. Some of them are well known, others have faded into obscurity, but they are all decent and are good alternatives if you fancy a bit of kart racing, but are terrified of sentient mushrooms or something. So, start your engines, lock and load your wacky weapons, and get ready for that green light, because I'm Peter from TripleJump, and here are the 10 best kart races that aren't Mario Kart. Number 10. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. This amalgamation of Crash Team Racing, Crash Nitro Kart, and Crash Tag Team Racing is perhaps the most prominent of all the Mario Kart alternatives currently on store shelves, and it proves you don't have to be Nintendo to make an addictive kart racer. Stuffing everyone's favourite deranged Bandicoot into a go-kart seemed like a great fit back in 1999, and it meant that PlayStation owners were able to get in on that lovely mascot racer goodness. This enhanced remake then continued that admirable mission, and even directly competed with the plumber by coming out for the Switch too. A bold move, Mr. Bandicoot. A veritable dream for those who enjoy unlocking characters, the starting roster of 8 racers can be extended to an absolutely massive 56 as players progress through the championships and challenges and pick up the free DLC. The tight controls, attractive visuals, and vast amounts of content all add up to make this one of the greatest kart races available. Hold on though, because it isn't all sunny beaches and Wumpa fruit. The game has been criticised for its harsh learning curve and lack of difficulty settings. And of course, it's been polluted by that dirty M word. Yes, microtransactions. Still, we can forgive it, right? I mean, after all, there's nothing quite like sliding around tropical islands, underground mines, and frozen lakes in a cart piloted by an unhinged orange marsupial. Number 9. Konami Crazy Racers. Konami Crazy Racers is a kart racing game from Konami that's so crazy they spelled crazy with a K. It was well received on the Game Boy Advance back in 2001 and was actually released a few months before Mario Kart Super Circuit. In a way, it did more than just beat Super Circuit to the shelves, in that many people ranked it as the better game too. Oh, controversial. In Konami Crazy Racers, players can, as you might expect, play as characters from various Konami franchises. Some of the choices are a bit strange though. From Castlevania, they decided to go with Dracula, and from Metal Gear, they picked Grey Fox. It could be argued there are more iconic characters from either franchise. Solid Snake or one of the Belmonts, for example, just putting that out there. But you work with what you've got, I suppose. And also it does feel kind of strange, suggesting that anyone is more iconic than, Dracula. Anyway, players can also choose from the likes of Goemon from the Mystical Ninja series, Takasuke from Parodius, Power Pro Kun from Power Pros, and Bear Tank from Rakuga Kids. How many of those words did I get wrong? Let me know in the comments below. In any case, you've got to pick Bear Tank, am I right? That guy sounds absolutely badass. Oh wait, no. Number 8. Mod Nation Racers. Here's one for you creative types out there. As its name suggests, 2010's PS3 and PSP kart racer, Mod Nation Racers, is all about modding. Taking on Little Big Planet's tagline of play, create, share, Mod Nation Racers encourages players to get creative with courses, karts, and drivers, and then chuck them online for friends and strangers to download and rate accordingly. Want to get into meticulous detail and painstakingly create the track of your your dreams? Go for it! Would you rather just drive around and let the track auto-build behind you, making the entire thing up as you go? Well, that's fine too. Want to make a track shaped like a giant Wilson and then share it online? Okay, well, we might judge you for that one, but it's a free country, I suppose. And if you're the type of gamer who likes their games to come pre-made by the professionals, Mod Nation Racers still has you covered. It includes 29 developer-made tracks and features an extensive story mode in which players can immerse themselves in a surprisingly twist-filled tale of family ties and betrayal. Also, the commentators are hilarious, and one of them is called Gary Reasons. Oh, sign me up. Number 7. Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing and Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. Sonic, the blue spiky dude with attitude, more than held his own against Nintendo in the 8 and 16-bit platformer days. Cruelly, though, by the time Mr. the Hedgehog got anywhere near Mario in terms of a quality kart racer, his platforming efforts had long since descended into a cavernous pit of mediocrity and unpleasantness. Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing and Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed are both very good though, and definitely deserve their place on this list. See, there's life in the old hog yet. Featuring characters from other Sega franchises alongside Sonic mainstays such as Tails and Amy Rose, players are able to zip through tracks based on Jet Set Radio, House of the Dead, and more. Then Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed added characters and tracks from the likes of Skies of Arcadia and Golden Axe, making it a bit of a Sega enthusiast's wet dream, quite frankly. It also featured transforming vehicles, allowing tracks to quickly transition between road racing, water racing, and gliding sections. To top it all off, the Samba de Amigo courses featured the licensed track Samba de Janeiro by Bellini, and we challenge you not to get hyped while driving around psychedelic musical themed tracks to that absolute banger. Number 6. Looney Tunes Space Race. Having absolutely nothing to do with the multi-billion-dollar Cold War-era willy-waving competition between the United States and Soviet Union, this Dreamcast and PS2 racer instead focuses on hilarious talking animals riding tiny rockets for our amusement. While Looney Tunes Space Race doesn't have quite the same historic significance as the IRL Space Race, it is a really good mascot racer, and as such, is much more pertinent to this list than Neil Armstrong could ever hope to be. In the game, players can choose from the likes of Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Wile E. Coyote, and other such personalities of gradually dwindling relevance as they straddle their chosen rockets and take to the track. The developers opted for a cel-shaded visual style that captures the aesthetic of the cartoons admirably and results in a game that still looks great to this day. It also draws heavily from that Looney Tunes brand of slapstick humour, of course. Expect giant comedy boxing gloves, holes that can be strategically placed around the track, and anvils and pianos dropping from the sky out of bloody nowhere. With all that going on amidst the bareback rocket riding, things can get pretty dangerous. I guess Acme doesn't have much of a health and safety department. Number 5. Blur. Featuring realistically rendered cars from real-world manufacturers and real-world locations such as California, Barcelona, and Hackney, Blur doesn't really fit all of the tropes that make up what many would call a kart racer. It does have similarities though, such as arcadey handling, speed boosts, and a plethora of outrageous power-ups. Also, it's really good. A bit of an overlooked gem, if you will. It was created by British developers Bizarre Creations, who were responsible for the excellent Project Gotham Racing series. The PGR games, for those who don't know, rewarded stylish racing through meticulously crafted representations of real-world cities. This all laid the groundwork for Blur, where the developers took some liberties with the locations and also with physics and realism, focusing instead on accessible gameplay and spectacle. Unfortunately, the public just wasn't ready for such a concept. The game didn't sell very well, and a planned sequel was scrapped. Activision closed Bizarre Creations down a year after Blur's release. This means we'll likely never see another Blur game, nor Project Gotham Racing 5, which is a devastating blow as, to be quite frank, PGR is up there with some of the best racing franchises of all time. Number 4. Street Racer. The unimaginatively named Street Racer was perhaps the first Mario Kart clone, appearing on the SNES in 1994 and using the same Mode 7 graphics capabilities as Super Mario Kart. It received some rave reviews at the time, with a few critics even describing it as better than Nintendo's genre-defining kart racer. A bold claim that probably doesn't hold up today, but, still, high praise. It didn't do quite as well on other consoles though, with the Mega Drive version being a completely different game thanks to the lack of Mode 7. It was the Sega owner's only answer to Mario Kart at the time, so devotees of the original Blue brand had to make do with it and endure its weird battle mode, in which players hopped between lanes and tried to bash opponents off the edge. The cast of playable characters is... well, it's a product of its time, let's put it that way. German fighter pilot Helmut and African tribesman Suzulu should give you an indication as to where the developers' heads were at. Also, Surf Sister, the only female racer, is a bikini-clad beach babe in a pink dune buggy. Because of course she is. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1990s. Number 3. Speed Freaks. At first glance, you might not notice what's so odd about this Irish-developed PS1 kart racer. Upon closer inspection, however, you'll see that not only are all the racers bereft of limbs, Rayman style, but also that the quote-unquote karts are just 4 disembodied wheels with no chassis, engine, bodywork, or any of the other bits one would expect to make up a kart. It's a strange design choice, and all I can think about is how close their butts are to the ground. Oh, they're just centimetres away from some really nasty friction burns there. And maybe that's what put players off. Speed Freaks, or Speed Punks if you want to get American about this, received high praise upon release, and by most accounts is a highly enjoyable karting game, but it has more or less faded into obscurity today. It is a fairly standard take on the genre, despite its unusual visual style, but then again, if you're in the mood to play something akin to Mario Kart, then innovation probably isn't something that's too high on your checklist. Karts, power-ups, bright colours, and quirky characters, that's what you want, and it's got all of that in spades. And just in case you were wondering, although the characters share Rayman's disdain for limbs, this game has nothing to do with him whatsoever. The French icon did have his own karting game called Rayman Kart, but absolutely nobody played that because it came out on BlackBerry. Oh dear. Number 2. Diddy Kong Racing. About as close as you can get to Mario Kart without actually being Mario Kart, Diddy Kong Racing for Nintendo 64 was legendary developer Rare's attempt at the genre, with story and adventure elements added in for good measure. Nintendo's own Diddy Kong takes the starring role, but you might also spot a squirrel called Conker and a bear named Banjo, who both went on, of course, to helm their own games. No Kazooie though. I suppose carrying an enormous bird around in your backpack would just add unnecessary weight. Anyway, Diddy Kong Racing features a hub area where players can drive around and choose various races and challenges to partake in. The story concerns a baddie named Whizpig who needs defeating, and gameplay involves finding collectibles and engaging in boss battles, as well as the regular old kart races. While Diddy Kong Racing is undoubtedly a great game that received critical acclaim upon its release, many young gamers at the time didn't see most of it thanks to a certain dinosaur-sized roadblock. Tricky the Triceratops is the game's first boss encounter, and he represents a difficulty spike larger than the one on the end of his nose. This guy is fast, not to mention massive, and he's not afraid to bash players off the side of the spiraling mountain road as you race him to the top. Tricky by name, tricky by nature. And number 1, Super Indie Karts. Now how about this for an idea? Make a kart racer that draws inspiration from the classic Mario Kart games of old, and add characters from a smorgasbord of great indie titles, ranging from Guacamelee to Teslagrad. Sounds good, right? Well, a clever solo developer known as One-Legged Seagull has done just that, and judging by the Steam reviews alone, players are, well, they are very positive about it. Each playable racer and each track is based on a different indie game, providing a very interesting premise for would-be players, an eclectic mix of characters and locations, and some lovely beneficial cross-promotion for the involved parties. One could call it the Smash Bros of indie kart races. It wouldn't make all that much sense, but one could definitely call it that. In fact, I just did, so there you go. Let's rewind for a moment though, because I need to talk about the name of that developer again. One-Legged Seagull feels like that name is almost certainly one of those born from idly looking out of the window for inspiration while creating your account. I really need to know what happened to this injured avian. Is the one-legged seagull okay? I demand answers! But anyway, to conclude, an indie crossover kart racer is a smart idea, and one that we hope gains traction. You're still thinking about that seagull, aren't you? It's okay, I am too. Should we just go our separate ways? Thanks for watching. I'll see you another time.